Welcome to the Sideline Reporters Podcast, Week 1 of the NFL. I'm your host, Cap from Cap and Frags Podcast, and I'm here with my co-host, Spencer, from his channel, NFL Champion. So, let's get into it. Thursday night football, that was the opening of the 100th season of the NFL. That was the Packers versus Bears. So if we want to get into it, Spencer, how was that game?
Well, as you know, I'm a Chicago Bears fan, so I was really disappointed with the outcome of the game. In the offseason, the Bears looked to be one of the best Super Bowl contending teams. Great defensive unit. Offense looked like it got a step up from where it was before Matt Nagy and all that. Trubisky looked like he was going to get into it with the second year of Nagy. We got Montgomery, Cohen, Robinson. I thought it was going to be a shootout at least, if not a Bear dominance. But we got a 10-3 instead. So,
from what I saw from that game, I saw that, I guess in the first quarter, Aaron Rodgers, the Bears defense was doing pretty good on, pass rush. And I think, from my standpoint, I thought, the Bears are, going to be dominant, like you said. But again, I don't know what goes on in Aaron Rodgers' mind. Something just snaps, and it's just like, okay, you know what? Let's go deep, and let's score a touchdown. Yeah, okay.
I don't particularly think that the Bears secondary was even as good as it was. Really, it's mostly the linebackers and defensive linemen that got better from last season. But yeah, Packers. Aaron Rodgers has always been able to do that against the Bears. Whenever they're behind, Aaron Rodgers goes like, "Okay, I've let you guys have your fun. I'm just gonna throw it. Oh, I win. Cool. See you next week." But I mean, the Bears need to step up their game. It wasn't It's not all on Trubisky's throwing and all that. Nagy was a part of it too. Nagy just didn't call the right plays. He tries to be too cute with the plays, making everybody move around and do special stuff. That's great. It works out in Andy Reid's offense, which is where he came from. But Nagy, you just got to sometimes do just hard run football. And none of this moving around, faking out plays.
Yeah, I think the Packers defense I feel like they did a little poor trying to stop the run. But
it's Matt LaFleur's first season as coach too, so
yeah.
Week 1 was kind of like let's see how this system
Let's see
works.
how all the starters do, see how the process works. All right, so we're going to go on to Sunday against the Titans and Browns. So the Titans really stunned me for getting 43 points and beating the Browns by 13 points. I mean, come on. Like, from last year, I didn't really think the Titans were a team anymore.
Nobody really did.
I don't think no one did. But the Browns, they seem to have lots of potential from last year with Baker Mayfield. But I think, I know it's just the first week, and I know that in the offseason they made changes. They got Odell, and, now they have the two, I guess you could say best receivers in the league with Landry and Beckham together. But I think just Sunday, it was more like, it's a test. I think every week 1 game is a test to see what play works and what play doesn't work, and to see what you can do in the end.
But everybody, including Browns fans, came in thinking that the Browns were going to be this new team. They're going to finally win the first game out of however many years it's been since they won their first game of the season. And Baker Mayfield, I mean, he still played fine in the game, but throwing only one touchdown and 3 interceptions, I mean, he didn't look like what people thought he was actually going to become. Everybody's hype on the Mayfield hype train. Everybody thinks, oh, he's just going to air it out to Landry, Beckham Jr., Nick Chubb's just going to run all over the Titans defense, which is what I thought. And then all of a sudden, like, the Titans just dominated 43-13, especially the running back, Derrick Henry. I mean, that guy, I saw his run, that 99-yard run from last season, and apparently it's not a fluke because he still ran over the Browns defense this first week.
Right. And for Mariota to have 248 yards and 3 touchdowns and 0 interceptions, that's something from what I think mentally from last year he's gotten better. I mean, it's only week 1 per se, so we don't know what's going to happen, during week 2 and so on. So we'll see
nobody
how
thought of that. Nobody thought Mariota doing anything in this game.
Right. Another game that was, pretty good was in Miami, the Ravens against the Fins.
Yeah.
Ooh.
I mean, Lamar Jackson just airing out. I think that puts all speculations away of why is there a running back playing quarterback? I mean, nobody can make that joke anymore, I think, because he just proved 5 touchdowns, 324 yards and all that, plus maybe 17 catches out of 20 attempts. I mean, he just balled out.
Yeah.
He proved the Ravens organization, and that he just proved the Ravens organization and everybody that he knows what he's doing. He took a step. Now we're just going to have to see if this is a fluke or if he's actually going to maintain this kind of playing.
Because last season they went to, the wild card?
Wild card.
Yeah, they went to the wild card. I mean, they lost, but I feel like they have that mental mindset as a team that I mean, shit, if they can score that much in just the first week, especially against the Dolphins, then it's something. But I feel like the Dolphins defense and overall in general, the team needs lots of work. It's all over the place, and it's not really something to be a Dolphins fan about. But I guess they're rebuilding. But that's every team.
Especially if you don't know who your quarterback's going to be, between Fitzpatrick, who's been everywhere, or Josh Rosen, who just came from the Cardinals. I mean, it's going to take a while.
It's going to take a while, but eventually, I mean, we'll see if they can make a comeback. If not, then
yeah, because especially Ravens go against the Cardinals next week, so that's still not really a competition as I see it in my head. But after that, then they have the Chiefs, and that's where we'll find out, is this Ravens team actually how we've been seeing them play so far.
Right. So we'll see what happens during week 3. That's a game that should be good. So we're gonna go. The next game is Indiana and LA Chargers. So without Andrew Luck,
man, that was just.
I think that was a shocker to all, but I have confidence that Brissett will do his job as he should, and he shouldn't let the whole Colts team down and fans.
I mean, what you gotta know is Brissett, he was a backup to Brady, and then he got sent over to Indianapolis, back up to Luck. So I feel he's prepared for the NFL starting. This game, the Colts unfortunately lost to the Chargers 24-30. They put up a good game against them, I think, and he threw 2 touchdowns. So that's a good first game for Brissett, I think. And then I mean he's lucky to have like guys like Eric Ebron and T.Y. Hilton. I mean, yeah, T.Y. Hilton said after Luck announced his retirement that he's going to step up his game. He's going to play this season for Luck, who he came into the league in the same draft with, been on the same team with all his career. So Brissett, he could count on Hilton because he knows that Hilton's going to play this game for Luck, and he's going to try and not drop not drop passes as much as he can.
Yeah, but no, the Colts have a good O-line, so
Oh yeah.
so I think Brissett is pretty good for that now. So that's good. So next we're gonna go to another game from Sunday. I know it's a lot of games, but it was the Arizona Cardinals versus the Detroit Lions, and this one was a shocker. I'm not gonna lie. This one was an absolute shocker. You have the Lions, who were like 18 points.
Yeah,
above,
about like
and that,
18 points by halftime, and
Yeah.
Cardinals only had a field goal.
yeah. So they were they were really ahead, but somehow the Cardinals decided like, okay, let's see if we can step it up.
It's time to go. Cliff Kingsbury just went, okay, this is what we're going to do, see if it works. And it worked.
Yeah, it did work. And in overtime, it was just more like, okay, they got both field goals. What's next, you know? And then it's like, is one person going to score? Is it going to be a tied game? So the very first week for those two teams it's a 0-0-1, so they're both tied. So I guess that's a okay way to start the season. It's not really good for
the Cardinals, but Lions, you blew a 17-point lead.
Yeah, which I really think that Matt Patricia is really not happy about for that, nor the defensive coach for that. I think Kyle Murray is a little bit in the first quarter. He was more like jittery.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I mean, I guess you could say that for like
First game jitters.
first game jitters, but I mean, he did do, I guess, okay for he did throw for 300 yards, so it's something. But we'll see where this hype leads, because a lot of people are talking about Murray, and I feel like if he plays like this, I mean, he'll make a second half comeback, but like if he keeps playing with like sloppy interceptions or just sloppy plays and, you know, can't deliver to the receiver on time, then it's not gonna, you know, we'll see where it leads. But
And to talk about like the other quarterback on the other team, Matthew Stafford, I have him on my fantasy team, and I didn't start him. I didn't think he was going to do well, but he ended up doing pretty well. 350 plus yards, 380 some yards, and 3 touchdowns, no interceptions. So I mean, he played better than I thought he would. He is the comeback quarter man. He's always great at coming back. We'll see how he does this season. Lions, I kind of predict them to be like tied between 3rd and 4th in the division, because they don't usually play that well. Stafford, he's gotten some new weapons, T.J. Hawkinson, Danny Amendola. We'll see how that helps him. It helped him in this game, but we'll just see later, by week 5, how he does.
all right, so we're back to Florida, and we're going to Jacksonville now, where the Jags and Chiefs played. Well, I guess Nick
Nick Foles is out.
Nick Foles is out with a collarbone injury, right?
I think so. Yeah.
That was a collarbone. Well, I mean, they did versus the Chiefs in the first in the first week, so that was tough on them. That's for sure. But
I mean, that's just unfortunate. Like that happened to a guy like Foles. I mean, he led the Eagles to a Super Bowl victory over the Patriots. When Wentz got injured, he led him to that playoffs, and he led him to the next playoffs the next season after the Super Bowl. And for him to get injured in the Week 1 game, it's just unfortunate. I mean, I wanted to see that guy do well. I think he's going to help the Jaguars too. They just like releasing Bortles and all that, getting Foles. He was going to help them, but now they got the Jaguars even like just traded for Josh Dobbs from the Steelers, and I mean, that's just the Jaguars are now going to be 4th in the division.
Yeah, I think we're going to the Chiefs now. I think that the Chiefs are just playing at a high level still, from that AFC Championship game and then losing to the Patriots, sadly. Well, I mean, Patrick Mahomes, I get it. He's really overhyped, but he is playing at a high level, and he is maintaining that level that not a lot of players do. But I mean, we'll see how the Chiefs go. I still think they're probably going to be where they went last season, but we'll see how that goes. So right now we're gonna go to different game, and that's going to be the Redskins versus the Eagles. So about the Eagles, that was a little bit. I thought Wentz was about to get injured.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not gonna lie. In one play, I forgot which play it was, but it looked he got hit from a position where I thought he was like done for the season, like he was before with the back, but he did survive it, so they also won, so that was good news. And then with the Redskins, you got, is it Keenum?
Case Keenum.
Yeah, who's starting? He's on different teams. It's I feel like it's still a mistake getting him out of Minnesota, but that's something for a different day.
I mean, to talk about that position more in the Redskins with Case Keenum, they brought in the Ohio State quarterback, and I just think that the Redskins are kind of in a predicament. They had Alex Smith,
yeah,
who I thought was going to play all of last season and then be the starter now, but he got injured. So, I mean,
that might be a career-ending injury if everything doesn't heal for him.
Like Joe Theismann. It's basically like Joe Theismann, around the same time, same injury, but to just like, I think it was like hard for them to just make a decision at quarterback between Haskins, Keenum, McCoy. I mean,
there's a lot of quarterbacks right now for, I guess, trying to get up for backup, but I think Haskins.
All below average too. I mean,
yeah.
I guess apparently from how the Redskins played, Keenum is the right choice so far, but I always thought that maybe Haskins would be. It's kind of like a long shot. You're probably going, the hell are you thinking? But I don't know. I just thought Haskins would have been starting ahead of Keenum, but so far I'm wrong with Keenum throwing over 300 yards and leading the Redskins to a 27 halftime lead. So I don't know.
Yeah, well, we'll see what happens during week 2. But we're going to go to Minnesota now.
They played well.
The Vikings versus Falcons, yeah.
Yeah, running back. The Vikings running game's been strong with Dalvin Cook.
Yeah. Falcons, on the other hand, they were sloppy, really sloppy. I think I don't know how many times they went on fourth down. I don't know how many times, but something they went for it, and it's cost them a lot. I just feel like Matt Ryan wasn't really in the game like how he usually is. But
I mean,
I don't know.
you're really not scaring anyone by not scoring any points until the fourth quarter. I mean, I get it. Start of the season in Minnesota, but come on, you have Matt Ryan, who is good enough to do better than he did. You've got Julio Jones, one of the top receivers in the NFL today. You have Kelvin Ridley. You Devontae Freeman as your best running back, but he's good. But to just score 12 points, I mean,
They have a lot of weapons
yeah.
on offense. Defensive, they still got, good people there. I feel like the defense played sloppy, having open throws. The safety wasn't really in place where he needed to be at the right time. And then they just kept getting yardage, which was good for the Vikings, but not really good for the Falcons. But
like I said, it's that Minnesota Vikings run game.
right.
When they couldn't find when Cousins couldn't throw, they just gave it to Cook. They just gave it to Abdullah, and they just said, "Hey, run it." And that Falcons defense just could not find a way to stop that running back from gaining yards, getting first downs, touchdowns. I mean, Delvin Cook, 100+ yards, 2 touchdowns, an average of 5.3 yards per carry. I mean, I don't know. I don't know what to say about that, Falcons.
So we're going to go up to the NFC West, the Rams versus Panthers. I guess we could say I don't really know. I mean, Jared Goff got paid that extension, and I guess they did as a team. The Rams did play like how they were last season as a Super Bowl contender and went to Super Bowl. But I think that they started off pretty good. Jared Goff, he did okay. He threw for 186 yards, but but he usually throws like 200, about 230,
Maybe a
per
little bit,
game.
Yeah.
I guess it was more like the coverage scheme that the Panthers played, but
Yeah, Goff. Right now, I still don't really like how he plays. I get it. He went to the Super Bowl and all that. He's got great offensive weapons, but he played a little bit worse than how he usually does. But so far, what I've seen on his best days, he still doesn't do that well. And yes, he had that one shootout against the Chiefs, Rams versus Chiefs in L.A., and like 58 to 50 something. But still, I don't like how that guy plays, to be honest. And this game proves that I still don't like how he plays.
So with the Panthers, how do you think Cam Newton played like than how he usually plays?
To be honest, he didn't play as well as he usually does. No touchdowns. He threw an interception or two. He didn't play that well, but it doesn't matter because he had McCaffrey who ran 128 yards plus, scoring multiple touchdowns. I mean, I say from what I saw, just keep doing that. Nobody seems to be stopping him. So if Cam Newton doesn't play well, he
always got the running back.
Yeah, he's always got the rushing game to lean on, and the few receivers. Olsen, he still does well. DJ Moore should help. we'll see what Chris Hogan can do after coming from New England. But Cam Newton shouldn't have to.
I don't think the Panthers have to worry about this loss. They'll get better like they always do. Who knows? They might be a playoff team this year. So we're gonna go back to the NFC West to Seattle, and they versed the Bengals. Now this was a close game. It was a 1-point game to finish it off, and to me, this was a pretty good game. I never seen Cincinnati, score, do as much as they did before. Andy Dalton throws for his career high of 418 yards, despite the loss, which was pretty good for him. I mean, against Seattle, they're pressured in Seattle. You have a full stadium, and it's loud there. So that's pretty good on Andy Dalton to come out there and throw for that many yards. But overall, I think the Bengals have a good start of where they're headed now, because it seems like a couple years where, the
Bengals just didn't know how to do it.
They became the Titans, where you don't know that they were a team.
Yeah, they do well one game, don't do well the next game, and they'll do well against a good team, but then just suck it up doing a awful team that hasn't been doing anything, and they're a team that just doesn't make sense. We'll see if they can turn it around this season from how they proved this first game. What we got to remember is that this is week 1. What you see here isn't going to determine how the teams are going to do, but how the Bengals played this first game, so far it's an upside.
I think the only thing that the Bengals have to, progress is their running situation. A lot of the running backs like Joe Mixon didn't really get a lot. They didn't get carries, but they didn't get that many yards as normally they would. So I think the receiving game that's pretty good for that. But I think the running game, I don't know if it was just that they were like, you know what? Let's just pass, and then we'll run it whenever we're close to the time or when we need it.
Yeah, I think the reason why the rushing game just probably it never picked up, so they just abandoned it and said, we're doing well enough in passing, we're just not gonna win it that much this game, which is why I think running backs didn't get as many attempts as maybe they should have. But because they were just doing well in passing, like you said, Andy Dalton 400 some yards, multiple touchdowns.
Yeah, same thing goes with the running backs for Seattle. They get the carries, but they get little to no yards. Which did they do the exact same thing Cincinnati did? Did they have the same? Oh yeah, you know what? Let's just pass. We'll get more yardage that way, and you know what? It's a bad team, so why not? We'll try it out. But I don't know. It's probably I have no say in what Seattle did during that game, but they won. Despite the closeness to the game, which, aren't they happy that they won that?
By 1 point.
By 1 point. 1 point. So we're gonna go. I think it was around a 3:25 p.m. game. Dallas, Giants versus Dallas, the Cowboys.
Okay, I just gotta start off.
Ooh.
I knew that the Giants were going to do this poorly. You get rid of Odell.
Yes.
You keep on to Saquon, though. Good job. You made a good decision for once.
Can you imagine if they traded him?
After one good season.
Yeah, right?
And then you keep Eli Manning, which is
I guess
fine.
okay.
I mean, he won 2 Super Bowls.
Make
He
him-
does well. People, I feel like, throw him under the bus like a little bit too much than they should. But I mean, Saquon Barkley's just gonna have to carry this team. Eli Manning did throw for like 300 yards, which is good, but it's like, I don't know, he still hasn't proven himself to stay on the team for too much longer. He's getting there in age. He hasn't been playing as what he used to be, but this game proves it a little bit. But I mean,
Yeah, I think though the Cowboys with Elliott's, Ezekiel Elliott's thing that happened over the offseason and
His holdout.
preseason, his holdout with his contract. I mean, they finally got it, and he did run. He did pretty good.
53 yards in
Yeah.
13 attempts.
Yeah, I mean, sure, he didn't really get it. He didn't get that much, but I mean, with the holdout, they wanted to see how he would be physical wise with the, I mean, I don't know if he was doing any. I think he was doing workouts. I just didn't think he was.
Yeah, he was like working out on beaches for who knows why.
Yeah,
That's his deal.
Yeah, that's his deal. But I guess since now he's back in the stadium, the whole team was just like, oh yes, now we can do anything. We can win, and then I feel like that kind of got Dak Prescott's mood a little bit up, and he just like he slinged it. He definitely slinged it. He slinged it to Amari Cooper. Cooper got a lot of catches.
Mm-hmm. You got Michael Gallup.
Yeah.
He got a whole lot of yards too. No touchdowns though, but you got Cooper, Cobb. They scored. He had help from like Tavon Austin and Jason Witten, who came back.
Yeah,
I mean,
Jason Witten got his.
They didn't do much, but
touchdown.
they helped in the receiving too. I mean, so Prescott's got a number of guys he can throw it to, but Ezekiel Elliott, not a good first game. Step it up if you want to prove that you got that contract.
Yeah, I thought he would get more against the Giants, but I don't know what happened. I really don't. Yeah, I mean, against the Giants defense, I thought he would go like, okay, I'm gonna just pass by you, score a touchdown,
Yeah.
but it didn't happen, which I was very confused at while watching the game.
Because everybody knows the Giants' defense is.
Oh, yeah.
Who are they?
It's like Giants who?
Giants who?
So
yeah, I mean they have Jabril Peppers on their team, Ogletree. Janoris Jenkins had a good game too against the Cowboys. 5 tackles. Nobody got a sack or interception, but like we said, the Giants defense too. But I mean, they do have a couple big names on their team.
all right, so for the last Sunday game, before Monday night hit, the last Sunday game I think was the Niners and Bucks. So anyway, for that, for the afternoon games for Sunday, I'm surprised. I'm not gonna lie. I'm surprised the Niners won. I'm really surprised that the Niners won. They did better on defense with 3 interceptions, which was more than how many interceptions they got of the whole season of last year with only 2.
Mm-hmm.
And then you got Jameis Winston just all over the place. He's like, he throws it into tight coverage, or he's like pressured because of the pass rush, or it's just he just doesn't know where to throw it. I mean, some plays he threw it to Mike Evans, like he threw it and then you're just like, okay, he's got it. But then as soon as like they do run after catch, you're just like, okay, well, I fumbled the ball. So like, what do I do now? You know?
You gotta remember too. They don't have Deshaun Jackson anymore. He's up back in Philly, so you can't just air it out to him as a safe haven. Like, oh, we're losing. Okay, I'm just gonna. Oh wait, where's Jackson? He's not here.
I mean, I feel like that was one of the plays that Winston was trying to do, but Richard Sherman got it and picked it back for a pick six. So like it was because he threw it the same way of how like Jackson would recover the ball, but it was above his head, and he would usually sometimes jump for it or just use his long arms and just pull it in, but it didn't happen. And for that to happen, he was just very inconsistent with his throws, very sloppy, and I feel like he just made the Niners defense like how the Raiders defense, how the Raiders looked during the Niners Thursday night last season.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like that happened, but we didn't get to see it on camera. But it was. I feel like it also for the San Francisco offense, lots of penalties.
Oh, yeah.
Throughout this first week, lots and lots of flags thrown. Like, oh my God, it was too many. Some calls during this whole week one is just like, why? Some of them were just like, okay, 15-yard penalty, let's go that way. Why? They don't give really an insight.
Reasoning.
Yeah, right. They're just like, okay, I'm gonna make up this. You're going 5, maybe 10. If you're lucky enough and I like you, we'll go 15, and you get a good spot. Yeah. So I feel like overall, in general, for the Niners versus the Bucks, overall, it was a sloppy win for the Niners.
I thought it'd be like a lower, closer game than it was.
The majority of points, though, that came from that was the defense overall. I mean, they would have gotten more, but with the flags from the O-line that happened, the Jimmy Garoppolo could have passed, would have made 3 touchdowns with George Kittle. But every time he passed to Kittle, it was more like, oh, flag. It was, so they couldn't really do that much, and I think that they improved overall with the pass rush, but we'll see how it goes for week 2 against the Bengals. And then here we go, the one-sided game. Sunday night, Steelers and Pats. The one-sided game, you can't really talk about the Pats. They were consistent. Tom Brady, 42, just slinging it everywhere to Josh Gordon, Edelman. You didn't play with Gronk, so you have nothing there to say.
But dude, I expected a whole lot more from the Steelers. Big Ben, Juju Smith-Schuster, James Conner, McDonald. I mean, how did you score only 3 points?
That was kind of ridiculous.
I think that's more ridiculous than the Bears just scoring 3.
Because if you think about it, think about the first game, the Bears versus Packers.
Yeah.
You saw so many flags, right, on both sides.
Yeah.
Did you see a flag really that much on the Patriots?
Not at all. No, not really.
So, okay, come on. I get it that the Patriots are a good team. They have a good dynasty. And I'm not, saying it. I mean, you have to be truthful here. Come on. With all the games from Sunday and Thursday night, this game had, barely any flags or penalties. It's mostly against the Steelers, but, something has to be going on with that.
Mm-hmm.
It's not that hard to see, especially if you watch the games that are shown on TV or to your local TV station. You see so many but like they overcome it, or it goes back to it. But you don't really see that many when it comes to any of the Patriots games being broadcasted, which is kind of fishy.
Yeah.
Anyway, it was just, to me, it was just a really one-sided affair, and it was just overall a boring game. It was, I guess, in the whole Sunday, was just, that game was supposed to be, exciting. Supposed to be like, oh yeah, so excited for football. Sunday night's back, but they made it boring.
Mm-hmm.
The Steelers didn't have a consistent movement, as I thought they would.
Mm.
It was just more like, okay.
I don't know what happened with that Steelers team.
I really don't know. I mean,
they should have scored at least like 21. I don't know.
I would have seen it more like at least Steelers have, you're right, 21 points, and the Patriots would have like 28.
Yeah.
I would see that's more realistic. But the defense was sloppy for the Steelers, and the offensive line, it was just bad overall football, and I don't know what happened. They're usually a good team to look at in the NFL, but again, don't know what happened to that. But we're going to Monday night. We're going to, you know what? Not a lot of people. It was on late because everybody was watching the Saints game. We'll talk about that after. But it was the Broncos and Raiders. Wow.
Who would have thought Oakland and Gruden could pull off a win week 1?
Yeah.
Or at all a win.
Brown who?
I mean, dude, I stayed up to watch that game, and it was worth it. I mean, I picked the Broncos to win. I'm like, when will the Raiders actually even win a game this season? I thought if they had won a game, I thought it was just going to be some random game, like probably week 8 and 9 or something. But nope, here we go, right off the bat.
Damn, they proved you wrong, huh?
Oh, yeah. I mean, Derek Carr did well, 259 yards, 1 touchdown. Joshua Jacobs, the rookie running back, 85 yards, two rushing touchdowns. That guy, so far, in one game, he proved who he is.
Yeah. See, if Derek Carr got like a big extension, like $130 million, I guess he's worth it. Sorry. He's worth it to, play, because, he's working his butt off to get his team right. And I would have thought, I'm with you. I would have said that the Broncos are going to win. I mean, they did pretty good last year.
Mm-hmm.
And they got Flacco, and he's pretty good in the pocket, and they got Philip Lindsay and everyone. So, I thought it would be,
yeah, I think
Broncos a little bit like a one-sided. That's what I would have thought. And also with the Broncos defense, since they got Vic Fangio, and
you thought they would do well, but dude, they gave up. They were not that well in coverage. They did not play well in coverage. The Broncos offense, like you said, Flacco did well. He can lean on Freeman and Lindsay a lot. They're winning games good. I get Lindsay, that dude, just keep giving it to him. He can push through a few guys, get the yards that you need. Same with Freeman. Just hand it off. He'll get you what you need. And they got Cortland Sutton in the receiving game, and he did well. 7 receptions, 120 yards. I'd say just throw it to him and Sanders. Nobody else really did anything in the receiving game. Broncos sort of played better than they did. That's all I can really say. anymore about that.
Yeah, I think the Raiders, man, they're really gonna prove me wrong. If the Raiders keep up this momentum that they got, oh yeah, they're definitely gonna make an impact.
Maybe they're playing this well because last season in Oakland.
Oh yeah, last season in Oakland, and you can already tell when they were airing it. They're like, oh yeah, I forgot. Okay, we gotta repaint everything. Don't put the logo, but we're gonna repaint everything.
Mm-hmm. But who knows? Maybe this is like a fluke season. Like, oh, last year in Oakland, woohoo, we're gonna win.
Right.
I don't know, but especially like AB was supposed to be on the team. Where'd he go? Oh, he's in New England now.
Well, he whined his way
to New England.
A free agency.
But if AB had been on this team during this game, I feel like the Raiders might have actually gotten even more points and would have been a larger deficit.
Because I think Antonio Brown was excited to be in Oakland.
Mm-hmm.
It's just the coming days that did not follow because of his feet.
His cold ice feet. That somehow.
And then he showed it on Hard Knocks, and
nobody wanted to see that.
Kind of gross. But we're going back to another game that was really, really fun to watch, in my opinion. That should have been a Sunday night game.
Yeah, that should have been Monday night.
But that should have been Monday night. But, I'm still counting this as Monday night, which is like a good game. And I got excited, and I'm not going to lie, I was screaming because of it too. I just got excited, and it was fun to watch. Very intense. We're going to
all the way to the last second.
Intense. Yeah. You guys already know what we're talking about. We're going Saints and Texans. Oh, yes.
To start off Monday Night Football, 50 years of Monday Night Football. I'd say that's one of the best games you could start off with for the 50-year anniversary. Deshaun Watson, Drew Brees, Saints angry after that playoff loss because of the PI call. So they were ready to just come in this game, win. It's just chemistry for a good game. You got all these elements that you're putting into one bowl. You're going to get something.
Right.
And we did. So, let's start it off with the Texans with Deshaun Watson. 260-plus yards, 3 touchdowns, 1 interception that he should not have thrown.
Yeah.
When he just aired it out for some reason.
Yeah.
All he needed was 6 yards to get a first down, but why not throw it? DeAndre Hopkins, he said during the offseason, he set new goals. He wanted no more dropped passes. He wanted to break some records. And that's why he's one of the top receivers in the NFL today. And he proved it in this game. 8 receptions, 110, 111 yards, multiple touchdowns. Watson knew who he wanted to throw it to every time.
Yeah. It was a back and forth with Michael Thomas too. And Breeze. It was just you have two great quarterbacks, I should say, with 2 best receivers, and they just imagine if they were both on the same team. Yeah, you're screwed. But it was a back and forth, and it made it a good game, and especially during the last the 2-minute warning, and the Texans did great. I don't know how they pulled it off. I'm not gonna lie. I don't know how they did it.
Mm-hmm. And then
they were in their own red zone, for Christ's sake.
Yeah. And later in the game, when the Saints scored their points, and then the Texans had a minute less than a minute, 2 plays, touchdown. 2 plays.
Yeah.
Come on.
Yeah.
How do you score a touchdown in 2 plays.
You know who the target was, right?
Mhm.
Here we go. Hopkins. Anyway, yeah, and it was a good game, you know. I was like, come on, I really want the Saints to win. I like the Texans, you know, but with the Saints, it has a different, you know, environment, you know, and it's like, man, you know, you really want to see Drew Brees just like, you know, air it out
Mhm.
and do what he does best. But yeah, it was less than a minute. It was like what 57 seconds
Well, that's
after
it.
the PI flag, right, or something like that.
I think so.
Yeah, something. I don't know how long it was. I don't know the time clock. I don't know. Who would know?
We just like it was under.
It was under
about
a minute.
50
It was
seconds,
about 50
yeah.
seconds. Yeah. Oh my God. they I don't know what play they talked about or what happened, but I don't know what happened. I really don't. It's hard to explain. It really is.
Mhm.
They're at the 20-yard line, I think. The Saints were at the 20-yard line, and then Breezer was like, "Okay, throw, okay, catch, get the hell up, please, get up. We're trying to not waste this to one timeout, please." They clock it. It's like 30 seconds, and then they throw. He throws again, and then eventually he just like the receiver just. He knew that was a smart move. I'm not gonna lie. And then I think what was it? 2 seconds left.
Yeah, like 4 seconds.
5 seconds. 4 seconds left. Timeout. It was what 57, 58.
58.
It was Will Lutz, man. Oh, he's a hero.
Who nobody would have thought like, oh yeah, 58 yarder, boom, he's gonna make it down the middle.
Oh, have you seen people with like 45? Oh,
58 yards.
58 yards. His career high is 57. Oh my God, 57. he just like beat it with just a yard, but like that makes a whole difference.
Mm-hmm.
And
he's a fairly young guy too, only 25 years old, and he's already proven himself. Like this 58 yarder in this game too. I mean, come on.
it's something.
And like at first, during that comeback play to win it all, I thought when Drew Brees threw it to his receiver in the middle of the field, I was thinking, why not just throw it like an out route so the receiver can catch it, go out of bounds, and then you have maybe like one more play to get a little bit closer. I thought, oh, the Saints, that's it. And I was wrong. Apparently, it worked out for them. Threw it in the middle. Receiver took his time getting up, called timeout, kick it, win it. Great game.
It was all a scheme. They did something, and it was just like, okay, you know what, we'll do it. Okay, yeah. Look where it went. That was a really good game. I really wanted it to switch, you know. Have that be Sunday night, and then have the Broncos and Raiders, you know, 2 good games, and then just have the Pats and Steelers, just, you know, afternoon game or 3:25 game, whatever you like.
Yeah, that would have been better.
It would have been something better, you know,
But
more entertainment.
Great way to end week 1 of the 100th season.
Right. Now we go to week 2, but you know we can't really talk about that because it didn't happen.
No games have happened yet.
Yeah.
We can speculate like, oh, maybe this team will win after week 1, how we saw this team do, but
it's better if we just leave it as just, you know, is, you know, and just let it play out, so then we can recap it, you know, and then.
So yeah, like what you just said, recap. What do you just recap week 1 in your opinion?
Week 1. 3. 2. Oh yeah, the Monday night's games. Great overall, yeah. But yeah, overall, in my opinion, week 1 was pretty good. A lot of surprising moments happened, and a lot of improvements need to happen for all 32 teams. So it all depends. We'll see what happens in week 2. But in the meantime, for fantasy players, I guess, it's not really the end of the world.
Mm-hmm.
Some fantasy players are, making decisions on what to do, who to drop, who to claim, pick up before Thursday. But we'll see what happens for week 2. And yeah, well, we'll see what happens. That's all we can say.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, we'll see you back here in next week to recap week 2. Hopefully, it'll be more interesting for Sunday night. Can't wait though for the Browns and Jets. That should be. We'll see what happens with that. But yeah, so thanks, Spencer, and then we will be back for week 2 next week and discuss everything else. So, as always, have a day.
See ya.